Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about how to factor trinomials. We've talked about how to multiply them. Now we're going to talk about how to go the other way. So when you're working with x squared plus bx plus c, you know what this means. If we have FOILed x plus 3 times x plus 5, you know that your first one is x squared because you've done your first terms. Your middle term is what you get from 5x plus 3x. In other words, you've done 5 plus 3 times x, or you have 8x. And then your last term is what you got from multiplying your two last terms, or 3 times 5. It's 15. So we multiply these two together. You've got x squared plus 8x plus 15. So notice what you actually have. The coefficient in the middle term, this 8, is the sum of 3 and 5, right? 3 plus 5 is 8. Also notice that the constant, or this number here, is the product of 3 and 5. Look at that relationship very closely. So this middle term is the sum of these two numbers, the coefficient here, and then this constant, or this number at the end, is the product. Keep that relationship in mind as we keep going through this video. Okay? So, very important concept number one. Very, very important concept number one. To factor a trinomial in the form x squared plus bx plus c, you must find two numbers that have a sum of b and a product of c. Remember what I just said to remember from the first slide? So, okay, let's say we want to factor x squared plus 7x plus 12. In other words, what two terms did we FOIL to get that? So we want to find what are our factors of 12 that have a sum of 7. So if I find my factors of 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, I believe I've listed them all. Now let's add those together. So 1 plus 12 is 13. Well, that doesn't work. So those can't be the factors we want to use. 2 plus 6 has a sum of 8. Doesn't work. 3 plus 4 does have a sum of 7. So that works. It gives me a sum of b and a product of c. So that means that x squared plus 7x plus 12, when factored out, is x plus 3 times x plus 4. If I went back and used FOIL on it, if I do my first, I get x squared. If I do my outer, I get 4x. If I do my inner, I get 3x. If I do my last, I get 12. Which puts me right back where I started. So I have factored it correctly. Let's practice some more. Remember, a sum in the middle, a product at the end. But this time I have a negative 17. So what do I need? I need to look for a negative and a positive. But wait, my last one is positive, so I'm looking for two negatives. So factors of 42, everything's got to be negative. So I know negative 1 and negative 42, negative 2 and negative 21, negative 3 and negative 14, negative 6 and negative 7. Hope you're good at your factors. We spent a lot of time on this in 6th grade. Now let's go with our sums. Negative 1 plus negative 42 is negative 43. That does not work. Negative 2 and negative 21 is negative 23. Doesn't work. Negative 3 and negative 14 is negative 17. Ding, ding, ding. So, what do we get? If we want to factor this, we're going to have d because that's our variable we're working with, d minus 3 times d minus 14, because we were working with negative 3 and negative 14. Alright, so this time we're factoring m squared plus 6m minus 27. So this time I have a negative over here. So what do I have to multiply to get a negative? I need one positive and one negative. So look at my factors. One positive, one negative. One positive, one negative. One positive, one negative. Positive and negative. I've got the same sets of factors each time. I just flipped around my positive and negatives. So when I find the sum, negative 26, no, positive 26. Negative 6, aha, here we go. So what are my factors? Negative 3 and 9. So when we put it up here, my factors of m squared plus 6m minus 27 will be m minus 3 times m plus 9. Now, as as we practice this, do I expect you to always list it out like this? No, because I know that as you do this more and more, you're going to be able to do this in your head. Do I think this will help you as we're learning? Absolutely. Okay, so here everything is negative. So we know to get a negative product, we need one positive and one negative. We know to get a negative sum in the middle, I need a larger negative and a smaller positive. So let's see. This one's a really big negative and a small positive. It's going to give me too big of a number. This is a big positive and a small negative. I'm getting a positive answer. Well, here's a large negative and a small positive, and there it is. Plus, there's a whole lot of other factors of 18 that I did not use. So, negative 6 and positive 3. P minus 6, P plus 3. Well, what if I have two variables, H and K? So I still have my B of negative 4 and my C of negative 77. So I still list out my factors the same. And for this one, 7 and negative 11 are the ones that worked. So look what I did. I've got H plus, because I have positive 7, I just put my K on the end. And then I did H minus 11, and again, I added a K to the end. So once I find my two numerical factors, I just add that variable, that extra variable, onto the end of it. So that as I multiply through, it's going to automatically pop in here, because if I multiply H times 11K, well, when I FOIL, I'll get H squared at the front. H times 11K, I'm going to get minus 11HK. When I did my inner, I would get 7HK minus 77K squared. So by just putting those variables back in there, when I FOIL it back out at the end, I will be okay. Okay, so I've told you a lot. Let's do some practice. So if we want to factor k squared plus 10k plus 16, my b value is 10, my c value is 16. So what can I multiply to get 10 and add to get 16? Well, my factors here, my best factors, I would say are 2 and 8, because their sum is 10. I didn't even list them all out. I just wrote it like that. So I know that I'm going to do x, or whoops, I used k here. K plus 2 and k plus 8. So maybe this is a good habit to be in. Instead of listing them all out, just write it like that. What about here? T squared minus 13t plus 42. So I have a b of negative 13 and a c of 42. So here, if I want to end up positive, although I have a negative here, I need two negative numbers. So how about negative 6 and negative 7? Because their sum is negative 13. So I'm going to have t minus 6 times t minus 7. Okay, what do I get here? Okay, I want a negative here, so I need one negative number, a larger negative number, or no, a large positive number with a smaller negative number. Well, how about negative 12 and positive 2? Whoop, nope, positive 12 and negative 2, my bad, because if I've got positive 12 and I take away 2, my sum will be 10. So that it comes out to be m minus 2 and m plus 12. Okay, let's try a couple more. Alright, negative 42 and negative 11. So this time I need a larger negative number and a smaller positive number. So how about negative 13 and 3? Does that work? No? 13. Nope, that's only 39. How about 14 and 3? That should do it. Because if we add those, we're going to get negative 11. So we would get x minus 14 and x plus 3. And one more. Oh, look, here's my double variable. 29 and 100. So how about 25 and 4? So factors and sum. Needs to add to be 29. So how about 29, 25, and 4? So it comes out to be, don't forget to add in your extra variable. And this is how you factor trinomials.